Big news, everybody. Hats are back in stock on sportingchancepod.com. Select t-shirts are $10 off and sticker packs are half off. Go get them while you can. And if you want to lurcher, head on over to Clover Creek Canine on Facebook and message our friend Sean O'Neill today. For your micro hawking and redtail supplies on the East Coast, visit mountainstatefalconrysupply.com. To get the tightest braided equipment on the market, visit midnightfalconry.com. And last but not least, to add a goshawk to your hunting arsenal, go on over to northmountaingoshawks.com today to put in your order for next year's hunting partner. All right, everybody, welcome to the very controversial Sporting Chance podcast. Thanks for joining us today. Casey, this episode is for falconers only, okay?
Yep.
So if you are not a falconer, go ahead and just turn it off. We'll see you next week. All right, they gone?
I think so.
Okay. All right, let's get into it. So
all right. So when you have a baggie, you have to break it.
Let's talk about how we really trap birds.
Yeah. Let's talk about the real falcon.
All right. So the reason I say that is, all jokes aside, that this is a very falconry centric episode, and it may not be of much use to people who are not falconers.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share, amongst other things, a recent experience I had with a very well-known falconry gear supplier. So Western Sporting, who I have spent quite literally several $1,000s over the years with, I bought their BC trap. It was $250, give or take. I bought it last season, so last fall. I used it for 5 or 6 red tails, I think, and dusted it off this year. It was sitting in my building and started using it again, and it very quickly started falling apart. The wire was breaking on it, breaking at the seams. So when you look at wire mesh, there's a little weld where each piece of wire crosses over each other. And that little weld started breaking on one, and it's like an accipiter's tail. Once one breaks, they start falling like dominoes. So the trap just kept breaking and breaking and breaking, and I was repairing it the best I could. I would take wire and I would twist it around joints and snip the wire off, and I took my trap to Ben Shelton, and he worked on it for me because it looked like a really nice trap, and it had a lot of nooses on it, and I really didn't want to go through the effort of doing that again. So anyway, I finally reached out to Western, and I was like, hey, just FYI, guys, this trap has not been used very much. It has been stored indoors, and it's breaking on me. And for $250, I'd like to think that this thing would last more than one season. And they replied by basically insinuating that I was not telling the truth about how the trap was used. He pointed out some rust on the weights inside and said, was it sitting outside? And I said, no, that rust is from gerbil pee. I could imagine gerbil pee is probably pretty corrosive. What do you think, Casey?
I think it's very corrosive, and I would know. I clean urinals for a living. Very corrosive.
That's true.
The most corrosive.
So urine is corrosive, so it corroded the weights in the trap, and it continued to break. And they kept giving me the runaround. It was just over and over and over, email after email, and they wanted more pictures and more pictures. And I was thinking to myself the whole time, like, over $250, they're giving me the round and round. Eventually, if I were in their shoes, I would just say, here's a new trap, shut up. But they never did that. And I stayed respectful the whole time, unlike how we were with Heath. We were very disrespectful with Heath.
Yeah.
You agree, Casey?
I don't agree that we were disrespectful, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, well, Heath thought we were respectful, but I don't think we were, and John Goodell didn't think we were either.
Yeah,
But
neither
anyway.
did Paul Domsky, apparently.
Oh, yeah, Paul Domsky and a few other random people that liked their posts. And keep in mind, guys, we have the list of Sporting Chance enemies. So if you liked a post that was anti-Sporting Chance, your name is on that list.
You're on the list.
Yeah.
And when you need us, we're not going to be around to help you. Oh, just kidding.
Not really, though. But anyway, very respectful with them. And eventually I said, listen, guys, I would love to continue to be your customer. Like, please help me out here. Give me something. And they literally ghosted me. So, and I was talking to the owner of the company, David Frank. And my boy David Frank just ghosted me after years of me being a customer, several $1,000s. I've got all those expensive aluminum block purchase from them. I buy my gloves from them. I bought everything from them. So on basic principle, I cannot buy from Western Sporting anymore, which is a shame because they got great products.
Yeah, it is a shame. And I mean, we don't have to get into it, but the design of the trap should be able to handle any type of moisture, water, durable pee. Like the thing is meant to be thrown out of a moving car into wet grass to trap red tails in the morning or the evening. I don't know why it would be falling apart on you. And I saw the pictures. I mean, the thing's definitely falling apart. That's not in dispute. It's definitely the welds are breaking. They must have used the cheapest wire mesh they could find. I mean, that's all I could think of. I mean, we're not here to just bash on them, but it's a legitimate concern. If you're not going to make your own BC and you're going to purchase one for that kind of money, it should last more than one season getting wet here and there or having gerbil pee on it. Hello.
Right. And the BC is something that anybody should be able to make. I can make them. I've made them. I will make them again. But their BC looks so nice on the website. I just thought, you know what? I'm going to give this thing a try. Everything else from them has been great. So I regret my purchase. And in some ways, I kind of wish I'd never even brought it to their attention because I probably would, just on basic principle, I'm stubborn. I can't buy from them anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. Once somebody wrongs me, they could be selling they could be giving away the best thing, and I'll just not participate because I just can't do it.
We call that down here cutting your nose off to spite your face.
I'll cut my nose and lips off to spite my face, bro. That's how petty I get.
So all of this, me and Casey were having this discussion, and we thought, you know what? It would be kind of interesting for us, at least, to discuss gear and associated things on an episode. Now, Casey wanted to talk about gear in depth, and we can absolutely do that. So we'll share some things that work well for us. And if you think those are dog shit, then please let us know. We would love to hear it. But so that's why I said this episode's for falconers only.
Yeah. And the theme that this whole show is going to have basically is a lot of the stuff you can make yourself, or you should make yourself, or
Right.
you should try to make it yourself, to say that you tried.
Okay. Well, that's a great place to start. So Casey, in your opinion, as an apprentice falconer, what all should you make yourself?
I mean, as an apprentice falconer, you should know how to, I mean, this is just my opinion. And I mean, this was the opinion of everybody 400 years ago. You should be able to make anklets. You should be able to just easily make a pair of anklets for any bird, any size. You should be able to make a pair of jesses. I mean, there's all these different books and it's fun to make them. It's actually therapeutic. So anklets, jesses. I mean, a leash, you could literally just do a jess, a long jess out of leather, but that gets pricey. So you can learn to braid a little bit. You know what I mean? Leashes, I mean, obviously you're not going to make a clip, you just buy a clip. And it does suck that Aaron, I have to betray Aaron if I wanted to buy another clip, because Western Sporting has the clips that I like. They have these heavy duty clips for the jesses, and they have 3 swivels. And anyway, so obviously you're not going to make that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Gloves, hoods. I've tried to make a couple hoods myself. I mean, the list just goes on and on. But I think as an apprentice falconer, I've never had an apprentice, right? But I would not feel comfortable with my apprentice purchasing, as nice as they are, the Ashley Clark or the Baba Yaga, whatever anklets. I think that they should make their anklets at least for the first 2 years that they're with me, for the birds that they're using. And if I have the time or they live within range, I would sit with them and teach them to do it. But that's just my personal thing, and I'm not comparing myself to other falconers getting into the sport. But when I was a kid, I would take AA batteries because I watched Gary Brewer's Beautios and Bushy Tails and the video he made, and he's like, he was talking about how a female red tail, her tarsus is basically the same thing as a AA battery, and like that's what. So I would just get a AA battery out of the freaking drawer, and I would wrap leather around it. I'd mark it. I'd punch a hole in it. I'd put a grommet in it, and I'd cinch it up, and then I would bring it to Paul and Phil, and they would say this is complete dog shit. And it's too tight. It's going to, break their leg and this, that, and so I'll get better and better and better. Obviously you can just buy whatever you want nowadays, but I just think that as an apprentice, to fully immerse yourself in the sport, I think you should be able to make your bird some gear if they need it. I mean, obviously you're not just going to whip a hood up and throw it on your bird. Like you have to be very skilled to do that. Gloves are the same way. But I think just like the rudimentary stuff, like basically like anklets, jesses, even building perches, possibly, they're hard to build unless you know how to weld and stuff like that. But I just think it's like, put a little effort into it. Try to learn the craft, because the craft is not just training a bird. The craft is not just finding game for your bird. The craft is not just husbandry. The falconry as a whole is all of it. You have to be able to keep your birds healthy. You have to be able to medicate your birds. You have to be able to treat your birds. You have to house them correctly, make equipment for them. This is all imp feathers. I mean, I'm not the best imper. I mean, I'm spoiled. I just basically bribe people that can imp good, and I show up to their house with a bunch of gifts, and we sit there and talk for 3 hours while we imp a bird's tail. But you should know how to imp. I can imp, and I have, obviously, but I'm just saying these are all skills that you should learn as an apprentice. And I mean, listen, if you do it for 2 years and you're like, all right, I can make some anklets nice, I can make some jesses, but imping feathers or, making a hood or whatever, like that's out of my wheelhouse, that's fine. I mean, at least you could say you did it. At least you could say you tried. I mean, I got a bunch of garbage hoods that I made that are just, but I'm cherishing them. I made them when I was 13 years old. I made that thing when I was 13 years old in my bedroom, because I was just pumped. I was just excited. I wanted to be a falconer. And I looked up a hood pattern online. I printed it out on my family printer. It was way too small, so I enlarged it, printed it bigger. And I sat there and cut out the eyes. Anglo-Indian, obviously. I'm not making Dutch hoods. Anglo-Indian is just I don't even know if it's Anglo-Indian. It might just be straight Indian. They're easy to make because there's seams, but there's no separate pieces. It's one piece. So you just fold everything over and sew the joints, and then you have a hood. And if you could do it correctly, go ahead, Aaron.
I was going to say that if this episode, like I said, was for falconers only, and I'm sure they've turned it off by now.
Okay, so I'm going to shut up now. Go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, no.
Courtney, just cut it out. Like cut to the last part that sounded interesting, and then just cut the rest out. Because I got a problem. Yeah, it's fine. Honestly, that's fine.
No. That was.
I got to stop rambling. I ramble too much.
No, that was all well said. So, what's funny about all that is I've been accused of being a tyrannical sponsor, and I'm so much easier than you would be in that respect, because I let them buy nice stuff if they want it.
You're tyrannical in your school of apprenticeship for falconry?
That's an accusation that's floating around.
Well, who started the actually, I'm not even going to bring it up.
So, sweet old Aaron is a tyrant. So that's Casey's opinion about what all you should be able to make, and I largely agree with him. You should be able to make the basics. You should be able to, with minimal supplies, be able to trap a red-tailed hawk, fit it up for falconry, and fly it. I think that should be the bare minimum of what you should be able to do in falconry. And if you can't, work on those skills, at least according to me and Casey, for whatever our opinion's worth. So, going down the list of some falconry suppliers, should you choose to buy some falconry supplies, which it's inevitable, you're going to have to buy some. I want to start by saying Mountain State Falconry Supply. Everybody knows they're a sponsor of the show. Heather McNeamer, great friend of the show. And I would have this opinion even if she wasn't a sponsor. I would buy anything that I could get from her before I would buy from anyone else. The downside to them is that they do not have everything in stock as of now. Their selection is a little limited. It's mostly for micro, I think is what she started it with. But I really think that she should expand to just everything, because all the falconry suppliers are all like out west. You got Western Sporting, who I will not be buying from anymore. They're in Wyoming. You got Mike's Falconry is out in Washington. And then you've got, Northwoods. Brad Woods, who sponsored that guy, Max, whatever, who was on YouTube.
Oh, Max, the white rat releasing apprentice falconer.
Yeah, what the heck was that guy's name? He was so controversial for a while.
He wasn't even controversial. He was just a train wreck of a falconer, and it was terrible.
We should get him on the show at some point.
Bro, he's probably traumatized, man. It was people would eat him alive in the comments. I mean, it was so bad. I've never seen anything like. I mean, I'm not saying the comments were bad. I'm saying we
need to go back, and there's probably comments from new NJ Falconry in there.
There is. I tried to keep it respectful, but I'm like, dude, he's walking around a woodlot with his red tail on the glove, and she's baiting, and he's holding her back, and then he's like trying to hide whatever she's baiting at, and he's looking over his shoulder, and he's like, "What do you see, girl? What do you see? What do you see, girl?" I'm like, bro, let the bird go. Like, what are you doing? And then he's like, okay, we haven't caught anything in 6 months. I bought a couple white rats from the pet store in my local town. And then he like shouts him out. And then he walks out into his front lawn and drops a white rat on the ground. And it's literally like just sniffing around. And the red tail comes down, grabs it, snatches it, and flies away with it. He's like, good girl, you did it. I'm like, oh my God, bro, what is this? It was so bad.
So he's a product of Brad Woods, who started Northwoods Falconry. And I think Casey compared them to like the Dollar General of falconry, or the Kmart of falconry supplies.
Bro, if anyone's ever been to a Kmart and then been on Northwoods, it's like exactly the same thing. It's like a bunch of stuff you could easily make like in about 35 seconds in your kitchen. While eating a bowl of soup with 2 hands. You could make this stuff. I don't know. And I'm just saying, like, listen, right? The podcast is a business. We make merch, we sell merch. Like, we understand how it works. These people are probably like razor thin on their margins. They're probably just scraping by to try to make money. They're all competing with each other. And, I feel for them, but just some of it is just so chintzy looking. I'm like, how dare you put that on a website to sell to somebody? But that's just my opinion. And I've been accused of being like elitist, and I'm really not, but I mean, you're going to sell like some trinket that has 50 zip ties on it, and you're going to sell it for $35 on your website. Like, I mean, I can go buy some zip ties and zip tie a bunch of shit together. Why don't you figure out a cooler way to make it so that it's worth buying? I mean, just my opinion. I mean, controversial take.
So, point being is Mountain State Falconry Supply. That's my preferred supplier at this point in time. Partly because they're on they're on the East Coast, and they will get things to you quickly. And she takes customer service very seriously. I really don't think she would ghost you if you had a problem with one of her products. I think she would take good care of you. Mike's Falconry has always been good to me too. I had a glove that I bought from him that busted like almost immediately. Sent me a brand new glove. He just very quickly, I sent him pictures, and I was like, Mike, this thing busted already.
Yeah, he's like, hey, that it looks like there's some talon marks on that glove. Did you happen to have a bird on that glove?
No, dude, you know what he said? he said that glove is not. He was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Squirrel hawking." And he said, "What do you do when you're squirrel hawking?" And I'm like, "I beat on trees with the glove, you know." And he goes, "Oh, that glove's too light for that." So he actually sent me this glove that I'm holding here. It's a big, like, heavy duty green.
What is that?
It is
the Renaissance Fair special. That's what it looks like.
It came with a puffy hat and a feather.
And a kilt?
No, a tunic.
A tunic, yeah, it's good.
I don't even know what it's made of, but it's been a good glove for over the years. It's sturdy. Casey hates the gloves with the gauntlets with the tassels. He likes the little glove.
No, I don't like any glove that looks like a falconry glove. It bothers me. It's just like it's like a pet peeve, and I don't judge anybody for having one. It just,
what else bothers you about gear? What are your pet peeves?
Giant. I think so about gloves. This is my personal opinion, and I think that it's valid. I think the glove should match the bird you're flying, and it should just barely match.
What do you mean? The color scheme of it?
No, the size, the length of the cuff, the thickness. I think if you're flying a kestrel, you have no business having a gauntlet on your hand flying a kestrel. I think it's an abomination. It's a disgrace. You should have a little tiny glove, or you should do what those dudes do in other countries, where it's just like a piece of leather that they slide their hand through, and it's like a little piece of leather on the top of their hand. It just looks so cool. It looks so clean. It looks so nice. Okay. You know, if you're flying a tiercel goshawk, you should have a nice small glove. If you're flying a red tail and the red tail's barely on your glove, a slightly larger glove, but nothing. You know, you don't need an eagle glove. The glove that Aaron just held up to the camera is like an eagle glove to me.
It's definitely not an eagle glove. It's long huge. Cuff. It has a long cuff, but it's not an eagle glove.
What do you got? Delicate cuffs? You got to cover them up? Like, why is that thing so big?
Well,
you got soft skin?
It's partly because that's what my sponsor taught me. And unlike some of you motherfuckers out there, I respect my sponsor. But this is my first ever falconry glove. Shout out to the homeboy Mike Dupuy.
Mike Dupuy.
This is
it of the show.
This is the original glove when I started falconry. Is this Mike Dupuy glove?
Yeah,
and it's got the logo "Loud and Proud, brother, Loud and Proud" on there.
Yeah,
Mike
you ain't missing that in any pictures. That thing's showing up.
All of Mike Dupuy's gear has his logo "Loud and Proud" on it. And Mike Dupuy is actually he is also an East Coast falconry supplier, but he has less stuff than Heather does for sure.
He focuses on mews and food
and perches. He's a good source for bow perches, in my opinion.
I got two bow perches outside, man. I'm rotating them. I need 2 more.
Yeah,
because you can't just have as many perches as you have birds. You have to have one for here, one for there, one to keep in the back of the truck. You need perches all over. And that's another pet peeve, Aaron, is a bow perch that doesn't have the proper angle. When I see a bow perch,
because you're saying like you don't want like a very very gently sloped angle. You want a sharp angle, right?
Yeah, I want everything on the bow perch to be 90 degrees. So when my bird baits, the ring can't slide from one side to the other. It trains them to stop baiting. Mm-hmm. No, the exact opposite. When you get a bow perch, the angle it's in the name, bow. It should be so when the bird baits, the ring slides. It jumps from one side to the next. When it goes into the ground or it goes onto a platform or a block of metal that it's welded to, it should not come off on a straight up or a 90-degree angle up. It should come on a 45 or probably even a 22% angle to go up. And then obviously it's going to be parallel, and horizontal on the top. And that was why I went through every single website until I found Mike's. And I messaged him and I said, I want 2 of these things. I said, it's not perfect, but I said, it's the closest to the angle that I personally like. Because all the ones that I used were just hand-me-downs from Paul and Phil, from people who custom made them, and they're made on a nice angle. There's almost no bow perches that I've ever seen that have a nice angle. And it's hard to describe without like drawing it for you. But basically, when your bird baits, in the opposite direction on the perch from where the ring is sitting, if the ring can't just follow the bird, then it's basically useless because your bird's going to break feathers and it's going to pull till the ring jumps up over and slides. So that's another pet peeve of mine. A bow perch that's not a bow. It's in the name, bow. Picture a bow and arrow, like not a compound bow, a bow and arrow, like a long bow. Picture a long bow laid on the ground and your bird is standing where you would hold it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not that dramatic, but it should look like that. That's a bow perch. Nothing for the bird to get stuck on.
Have you ever tried the Heinz Ming perch?
Which one is that?
It's the tail saver.
Oh, with the ring, it swings? Is it the one that swings, or is that the one that you tether high and then when the bird baits it keeps there? It's supposed to. The concept behind it is that the jesses pull up the tarsus, which makes the bird react by kind of lifting its tail up. Is that the one you're talking about?
I believe that's it. I've never used one.
My sponsors have. People swear by them. People swear by them. Yeah, I mean, Paul and Phil use all different stuff, whatever. And see, that's the other thing. And I'm not trying to like just make my sponsors look good, but they have a million different styles of perches because each bird is 100% a different bird. I have birds that I would put in a traditional hawk box, giant hood, and they will beat themselves silly in that box. If I throw them into a dog crate with a platform in the back of it, they will literally sit in there all day and not make a noise and not move because they just like it. They just feel comfortable. And you have to kind of know what your bird likes. And if you have a bird that's baiting all day long and you got it on a standard bow perch and it's jamming its tail into the ground every time it baits, you're going to have a bird with no tail feathers very soon. So you may need to put it on a ring perch. You may need to put it on a tail saver perch or even a pole perch. These are all things that like come into play. And I mean, perches are very expensive and you need to buy a whole bunch of equipment to really make them. But that's another thing that's very important to invest in if you're weathering birds, obviously. If you're just free lofting a red tail or a Harris hawk or a goshawk, and your bird is fine like that during hunting season, it's not banging itself up in there during hunting season, then you're fine. Each bird's different. Some birds, you could have one red tail that's completely fine in there. You walk in there ready to go hunting, comes down to the glove, he steps up to the glove, you put him in the box, you go hawking, everything's great. Then you have another red tail that's flying into the walls going ballistic because he's at hunting weight and he wants to go. You can't just let him free loft. He's going to destroy himself. You got to tether him down and you got to have a good tether system that's not going to, he's not going to beat himself up or he feels comfortable on. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and falconers are cheap asses, so they don't want to buy this stuff. But it's definitely worth having that stuff because if you're like me, when you need something, you needed it yesterday. So by the time you order it from a falconry supplier, it's probably going to take you a week to get it. So have the stuff on hand. All right. So I think we kind of more or less touched on all the falconry suppliers out there. There's some others here, maybe some small, specialist places, and there's too many to cover. But we promote brands that we feel good about. So if you're in need of any of that stuff, we encourage you to check out the brands that we stand behind. So Casey recently, interestingly enough, and I don't know if anybody else has this, Casey got sponsored by Dan's Briarproof, which that's a pretty big deal.
Not really, because I don't get anything for it. I had to like convince them. I didn't convince them for some sort of a flex. I just placed an order with them for $350, and I was like, "Listen, come on. I got a decent amount of following here. Can you give me a little bit of a discount?" They gave me a 20% discount on my order, so they literally just sent me back $50 on my $350 order, and then they gave me a 5% discount on all their gear.
And there's a promo.
No, not just for me. If you use the promo code, I don't get anything for the promo code. I don't get anything. It's 5%, which is basically nothing.
And what's the promo code?
The promo code is NJ Falconry 5. I don't get anything for it. I don't get anything in return. But if you're buying Dan's gear, just throw my promo code in there and you're going to get 5% off your order. And I love that stuff.
I don't know any other promo code.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't know of anyone else that I've bought, $1,000 worth of Dan's gear over the years.
So have I.
And
The only reason why I ordered a whole new set was because I ripped my stuff to shred for the last 5 years, and it's like I literally look like a homeless person now. Like the pockets are ripped off, the chaps. I stepped on a barbed wire fence and it ripped up the back, so I have to put the one chap on one leg so that the rip is in the back now. And so I'm like, I just need new chaps. I need new jacket. I need this. I got the bibs, the Uplander bibs. I just rocked them today with Moose, and they're really good. All their stuff is good. I mean, you can't beat it. Are you frozen, Aaron, or are you just very calm right now? Oh,
I just texted you. Internet's
like,
crapping out.
I thought Aaron was just like a statue for a second. He was like frozen. No, Dan's gear is great, and I was very opposed to it. I was like, I just wear jeans when I hawk. I was one of those morons that would do that. I have battle scars because it shows how much I work, and I would just sit on the toilet and pull thorns out of my knees constantly. And I'm like, all right, everyone's wearing this Dan's gear stuff. What is this about? So I got a pair, and they don't even leave my truck. They're in my truck. I have a crate in my truck. I take them off. I roll them up, or if they're wet, I lay them out. They dry. You have it right now. You have the whole getup, don't you?
Yeah, man. I got the whole. I got the button-up shirt. I got the jacket. I got a hoodie. I got the bibs. I got
Your
it
duffel
all.
bag is in my truck. The Dan's gear duffel bag is in my truck with all their gear in it.
I'm a big supporter of Dan's.
No, you can't beat Dan's, but they're a smaller company, and the Amish people. This is the other thing, and a lot of people don't care about this, but like I said, I don't get anything in return from this. I'm just saying, if you're buying Dan's gear, if you're getting ripped up and you don't want to get ripped up by thorns anymore, just buy a Dan's gear shirt, which they call it like a shirt. I like that because it's lightweight and you always got layers underneath it, so nothing gets through it and you don't feel anything. And I just throw chaps on whatever jeans I'm wearing that day. I just throw chaps over it, and I got jeans that I used to just go through pants like 3, 4, 5 pairs of pants a season, like work pants, whatever pants, and I would just have to throw them in the garbage and buy new ones. You just whip on the chaps when you get out of work and you're going to go fly. Nothing goes through them. You're good. You'll feel a prick here and there when you're in like that thick, like that greenbrier where those damn briars are like a freaking inch long. You'll feel a little bit, but they keep your jeans good. They keep everything good. And then you just unclip them, slide them down, and put them back in the bin in your truck, and you're good to go. Like, you can't beat it. Like, it's just, you can't beat it.
Have you ever tried Filson's briar-proof gear?
No, unfortunately, I cannot afford that type of equipment in my household. I can't afford to spend $185 for a T-shirt or whatever they sell. It's insane.
That rabbit shirt, are you going to buy that? That essentially,
yeah, you sent me the link. I've been looking at it, but I'm waiting for it to go on sale. I don't want to spend $80 on a T-shirt.
I think it's $45, right?
Imagine we sold Sporting Chance shirts for $45 a piece, because they cost the same to make.
Probably, yeah. And for those of you out there, our shirts are screen printed on the nicest, most premium T-shirts we can find. Screen printing process is not it's not cheap. It's the manual process where a human being physically lays a screen on the shirt and scrapes the color over it, and then they have to put a new screen on it and scrape color over it. So it's every shirt that's screen printed has been like worked on by a human being. It's not just spit out by a machine.
And it's not the fact that it was basically handmade, essentially. It's the fact that the color soaks in, and it's not just like a sticker that gets laminated onto the shirt. It gets into the actual fabric, and then you can wash it 50,000 times and it still won't come off. That's why we do that, so that it doesn't fade and look crappy. FYI. So
they're a little more expensive because of that, but we believe in it. So
that's right.
So on the subject of gear, you should definitely have a wardrobe of Sporting Chance merch.
I mean,
pick it up at sportingchancepod.com.
If you're listening this far and you don't have a couple T-shirts and stuff from us, then you're essentially just a trader, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And we don't get rich off this stuff. We just use it to buy. My microphone is kind of crappy. I need a new microphone. We just do stuff to try to work. This is another thing. This is like an insider look. We're really pushing. We got a bunch of stuff in the works, a bunch of irons in the fire. But the thing that I'm most excited about, and some people may not think it's so exciting, is we want to do like a full like interview with Lance Christensen and possibly the other guys that were involved in the importation of the Albitus goshawk from Russia and Siberia. And it's a really cool story. It's super interesting. Almost nobody, not even us, really knows the full story. There was corruption involved. There was, running from, people that wanted to kill. It's a whole really crazy story, and we're pushing for that. But me and Aaron, we may have to fly to Iowa, and we may have to meet up with Lance at his house and sit and do this with him. And it may take several days to get all the documentation and the whole entire interview complete. And that's not free. And we're not wealthy individuals, so we gotta, if you're buying t-shirts, that's going somewhere where we can, basically we just use the money to make the podcast better, basically. Yeah. So support the podcast. That's the only thing we ask. Support the podcast.
Yeah, that's the only way. And as of now, it's the only way you can support it until we start our buy me a coffee account or something like that.
If we start that, I'll just quit, bro. There's no way we're putting buy me a coffee account on this thing. Come on, man.
So
you're gonna get something for you're gonna get something for your donation. If you're gonna give us money, we want you to get something in return, and you're gonna get a cool shirt, cool hat, hoodie, whatever else we come out with. Ski mask, possibly. We're trying to do some ski masks. It might be funny. Little inside joke for the pod. If you're wearing it, everyone's in on the joke.
I actually, I ordered the ski masks.
You did?
Yeah.
Are they engraving it, or are they putting a patch on it?
They're going to be embroidered with the machine.
Oh my God. Did you put tears under the eyes?
No.
Like the Bloods and the Crips, if you have a teardrop?
No.
You should.
But I thought that would be cool.
That would be cool.
So for now, we'll test the waters right now. But anyway, so back to other people's gear. Yeah, I bought the Filson when we sold our first house. We sold our starter home. I bought Filson bibs, and
with the profits from the sale.
Yeah, they pretty much ate all the profit from the sale buying those Filson bibs.
All the profit from your home went into one pair of Filson
bibs. Dude, I wore them one time. They are so hot.
Yeah,
they are so hot, man. They might be fine to like deer hunt in or something, but I don't think you need them for that in like the freezing cold. But down here, they are useless. They are so hot.
Yeah. Not to harp on the Dan's gear, but if you're a falconer, you're like a rough, you're beating brush, you're pushing through briars to put game in front of your birds. And you don't need super fancy equipment. You need something that's just going to keep you protected from thorns. When it gets wet, it dries out really quickly. Like, this stuff is good, and I swear by it now. And I was kind of like on the fence about it when I was younger. And after I bought a pair, I'll literally never not have a pair of Dan's gear, bibs, chaps, jackets. I mean, this stuff is freaking great. It's like wearing a bulletproof vest to go through briars, and it's not even heavy. It weighs nothing. It's like a tent, like a canvas tent.
Yeah, I love Dan's gear.
Yeah.
All right. So, what other gear did you want to discuss?
I mean, we don't have to get too deep into it. We don't have to go crazy. Like, you're making it seem like I want to go crazy, but boots. I mean, obviously you got to wear waterproof boots. I personally don't like anything with laces on it, because when you're going through briars and brush and vines, like the laces, like I don't care who you are, your laces are getting untied. They're getting pulled on. They're getting ripped on. So everything I wear has no laces. Muck boots. I just ordered these muck boots. They're like, I don't know what you would call them, Aaron. What you call them? They're not like a low rider boot, like a hiking sneaker shoe. They go up like a pair of Timberlands, basically that height. And they're completely waterproof, and they have a zipper down the front, and you zip the zipper up, lock it into this little groove, and then you flip over this heavy duty rubber Velcro strap that holds the zipper in place. Then you pull your jeans over that, and then you put your chaps on over that. And I mean, I'm sprinting up and down. I'm running. All of us, any falconer, you're running, you're trying to get to your bird. Like, you can't wear stuff like you're sitting in a tree stand hunting deer and you want to be warm. You got to wear stuff that's like semi-athletic. Like, you got to run in these things. You got to go up and down hills. You got to cross a river with them. You got to jump on rocks with them. And I like these boots. I don't even remember the name of them, but I just was going through Muck and I saw them and I'm like, oh, I got to get those. And they're like 100. They're not cheap. No, nothing Muck is cheap, but they're like $170. And I beat the living piss out of them and you can't even tell. They're great for now.
The briars haven't torn them up?
No, because they're not like the Muck boots, that are like that wetsuit fabric that gets shredded in one season and they're $190 for a pair of those boots. And then in one season you get a hole in them. It's like the heavy duty rubber that's on the bottom, but the whole boot is that basically. And it's all hidden underneath the chaps and just the bottom sticks out. And you can run in them, you can jump in them. I climb trees in them. Like they're good. They're like wearing a pair of sneakers basically, but they're completely waterproof. And apparently they're super, like maybe at the end of the season, we could talk about it again. But right now, after like a whole bunch of hunts, multiple hours in the field, I mean, I love them. I'm just going to buy another pair just so I have them. They're good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I usually wear Danners, like mock toe Danner boots, waterproof.
I've never heard of those before.
Never heard of Danner?
No. What do they look like? Like I know guys that wear like the heavy duty, like Harrison. Shout out to Harrison from Maryland. He wears like freaking loggers when he's hawking, like steel toe loggers. I'm like, bro, how do you run in these things?
The answer is he doesn't run. He just meanders around.
That's because Lizzo doesn't. Nothing. He doesn't have to run. Lizzo gets everything.
Yeah. He can take his sweet time to get there.
Shout out to Lizzo. Good bird. Real good bird.
Somehow still alive.
Man, we just keep our fingers crossed, man. It's a good bird. Hopefully she stays alive. The way he flies her, man, it's incredible that she's alive and she's so good. So just keep it up.
So what do you think about buying birds at this point in time?
I think from a falconry standpoint, a historical falconry, like we talked about historically, like making your own gear, bells are very important. Whatever the website says for your bells, it's too big. A red tail bell, basically you could put on a cow. So I usually run a bell on a goshawk, a female goshawk. I'll run a bell for like a Tiercel Harris hawk or even a female Cooper's hawk bell. And that sometimes is good. I mean, obviously the sound doesn't carry as far with a bigger bell, but the big bell and that's just my personal preference. I don't like too much stuff on the feet. But in terms of buying birds, that is a full episode in itself because you really gotta.
Well, we couldn't talk about liars, con men, and thieves without mentioning bird breeders.
Yeah, and it's not that guys that breed birds are dishonest. They're not necessarily. Some of them are 100%. But they're selling a product and they have to move the product. Otherwise they literally just get stuck with the product. And it's not like you just keep it on a warehouse shelf. It's like you literally got to feed and house the thing. So you need to, before you purchase a bird, you need to, and I did this myself. I called a breeder out in California. I'm not going to say who he was. He's a very nice guy. And, he asked all the right questions. They all do. What are you hawking? Where do you live? Some of them ask what your experience level is. I was personally looking for a goshawk. I was under the impression that finished birds are bigger, which the females are. But a Tiercel Finnish bird, goshawk, is not any bigger than a North American Tiercel on average. Obviously, like I got a Tiercel right now. He's not a true imprint, so he's flying a little bit lower than I was flying my first fin, but they're basically the same size. He's not any bigger.
Which is what?
He's flying at like 630.
So a Finnish bird, you could expect Tiercel would fly around 650.
I had that Tiercel, and there's some. I had a Tiercel. My first goshawk, I flew my sponsor's maid bird. That was the first goshawk I flew that I actually caught game with. I didn't do any of the work to get that done. Obviously, I put slips in front of her, but she just ate them up because she knew what was going on. But the first bird that I actually purchased and raised and entered myself was a Tiercel Finn, and the breeder told me that he would catch squirrels, left and right. You'd have no problem catching squirrels with them. I got into an argument with a guy at the Jersey meet that year because he said that the breeder sold me a Cooper's hawk. And he was like, obviously like a very low IQ individual, probably hawk squirrels, right? And he's like, that's a Cooper's hawk. You got ripped off. I swear that's a Cooper's hawk. And I'm like, dude, this is a Tiercel goshawk. It's a Finnish bird. He's like, no, it's not. That's a Cooper's hawk, brother. And it was like, we went back and forth in the parking lot while I was, looking at it. That's how small this bird was. And that's literally how small this bird was. And I was under the impression that it was going to fly, 800. There's no Tiercel goshawk in the United States that flies at 800 plus, unless it's a pure albitus Tiercel, pure albitus, or as close to pure as you can get, or somebody that has a butyoides and they're breeding very large Tiercels. Because any breeder that tells you that the bird's going to fly at 850 grams, which is a female North American weight, by the way, a smaller female North American, they're just trying to get you to buy the bird. So if you want to hawk squirrels, don't get a Tiercel, get a female. And I've said it on the show multiple times, but for some reason, I'm still getting the messages from people. I can't get my bird going on squirrels. Any advice? And I'm always willing to help anybody. I don't know everything, but I'm always willing to help whoever needs help if I can, or point them to the person that can help them. And when they tell me they got a Tiercel fin, and then I say, why did you get a Tiercel fin if you want to hawk squirrels? And then they tell me that the breeder told me it would be the best squirrel hawk they ever had. I got the screenshots. I'm not going to say who the breeder was. That's just dishonest, because it's not. You can catch plenty of squirrels with a Tiercel. Miguel from Staten Island, he must have caught hundreds of squirrels with a Tiercel goshawk. And it was a larger subspecies. It was a cross, big gamey bird, not super big. It flew like in the high sevens, and he caught a crap ton of squirrels with the thing. But he had to put a crap ton of effort into it to get it to do that. And it's an uphill battle. And if you've never flown a goshawk in your life, it's not worth it. Just get a female. You're going to have way more success with a female. If you want to catch squirrels, that's my point. If you're chasing cottontails off of the fist in open fields, Tiercel all day long. If you're catching ducks, any kind of game bird, Tiercel goshawk all day long. You'll have a blast with that. And the female might actually get in the way because they're not fast enough and maneuverable enough. But that's a problem that I've been seeing is people have been messaging me. It's not just one person, it's a bunch of people, and it happens every year. They're being sold Tiercels, and it's their first time getting a bird. And I fell victim to it too. I didn't have a lot of experience with goshawks. It was my first real bird that was mine. And a Tiercel takes a lot of finesse. They're a high-strung bird. Everything wants to kill them in the wild. They're very nervous during the dispersal phase. They think you're going to kill them. They don't want to do anything. It takes a lot of patience to get them going. Any goshawk takes a lot of patience, but you got to do a little research. You got to talk to people that fly these birds. You got to communicate and say, I want to catch squirrels, or I want to catch ducks. And if someone's trying to sell you an apple motto falcon to catch mallards, they're lying. Don't do it. That's an egregious example, but I'm just saying, and try to get references, I guess, from the breeder. And Aaron had a little situation, right, Aaron?
You talking about the female that I bought?
Yeah, that beautiful big female that you bought.
So I bought a female from a known goshawk breeder. I don't really think he breeds much anymore, but
wonder why.
He's he has published DVDs and things like that. I bought a female because I have a lot of squirrels here, and I wanted a female to handle squirrels, and a pure fin, and got the bird, raised it up, and it stopped growing hog fat at like 750 grams.
Usually a Tiercel hog fat. Most Tiercels would be in the 800s hog fat during the imprinting phase, which is interesting. But they almost all fly mid to low 700s, mid to low 600s, usually from my personal experience. But.
So this bird was obviously a tiercel, and it was sold to me as a female. And the guy gave me the difference back in money, but looking back, I should have just said, just give me all my money back and come get your bird, because I was not prepared to fly a tiercel. It was my first ever goshawk. I had a plan of what I wanted to do, and I wasn't really ready to deviate from it. So it was just, I caught a few things with it, and I ended up moving him along to somebody out west. And God knows, I'm sure the birds hit a fence or a window at this point.
Yeah. It's a problem, and you just have to think when you're getting a bird, and we're kind of harping on goshawks just because we know a little bit more about that, and it's more of our wheelhouse. But this goes for any bird. You know what I mean? If I wanted to buy a super good duck hawk, right, that's just going to slay mallards, slay any duck that I flush in front of it, you know, you just call a couple people that have a lot of success, and you're going to hear pretty much the same thing from them. You're going to hear GP, tiercel gyr peregrine. That's the bird. Get that bird. It flies the size of it flies exactly the same size as a female peregrine, but it has hybrid vigor. It has tail chasing ability, hitting ability, and it has a beautiful flight style because it is a tiercel. And the tiercels, as we know, they fly. They're way more fun to watch fly. Or a peregrine, because peregrines, they seem to go up on their own. You just watch any Ben Woodruff video, and you learn pretty quick that peregrines, they naturally want to go up. They want to get a nice pitch. Gyrs are a very challenging bird to fly. Anything that has aplomato in it is going to be a tail chaser, so you want to watch out for that. Anything with gyr in it, you want to watch out for that because it's going to be a tail chaser. Extremely intelligent, harder to train. Well, easier to train, but harder to get into the rhythm. You just got to do a little research before you just start sending deposits to people. You got to figure out what it is that you really want. And you got to reach out to people that know what they're doing, or not even that claim that they know what they're doing, that they have success. They got pictures of their birds on kills all the time. They have a reputation, catching game. Call them, say, hey, I want to get into long wings. Okay, what are you flying? I'm flying snipe. Okay, all right. Well, I think, what's your experience level? Okay, I think this bird. You know what I mean? And then take their advice seriously. If you call the breeder, it's like calling a used car salesman and telling him I want to get back and forth to work. He's going to say, I got exactly what you need right here. And it's a friggin' broken down Ford Escort, with a blown transmission, no warranty, and he's going to sell it to you in 2 seconds. Yeah, Chevy, exactly. I'm done with Chevy after this, bro. I can't. It's like my 5th Chevy. It's gone. I'm never driving a Chevy again in my life, ever.
Same here.
Yeah, I'm done with Chevy. But yeah, that's just the point. It's like, and I'm not saying that breeders are dishonest. I'm just saying everybody wants the female. I want the big female. I want the biggest female I can get. So then they're stuck with a bunch of tiercels. So when they get a newbie calling them and they're saying, I'm trying to catch squirrels, I'm not saying that all these breeders are liar. I'm just saying that they're running a business, and every day that the bird stays at their house before it gets sold is literally hours of their life feeding it if it's an imprint, or it's, quail every single day being thrown in the chamber to keep the thing alive till somebody comes, picks it up. So they're incentivized to try to get the tiercels moving. If somebody says, they're selling you a tiercel and you're saying you're chasing squirrels, they don't have your best interest at heart. That's just the fact of the matter. And I'm not trying to bash any breeder.
Thank God Tyler Sladen flies tiercels, because imagine how many more tiercels would be on the market if he wasn't out there promoting them.
Well, I mean, he knows, and we know that if Tyler was flying a female, he'd have half the success that he's having. Those tiercels are so insanely fast and maneuverable. I mean, watching them fly, like I had Moose, this bird from Maine. Like, I mean, we cut a baggie loose. Me and Zach Bond, we cut a baggie loose in this open, nursery. I mean, he's like doing figure eights around these trees. It's mind blowing how they can move. It's an amazing bird, but they're harder to deal with and they're harder to get entered. And if all you can show it is a couple rabbit slips that it can barely see and 90% squirrel slips, because that's what you have, you need a female, because then the female is just going to want to kill that squirrel. The squirrel, the tearsel that's not their bread and butter. They're in the wild. The tearsel goshawk is catching all the little dinky birds and coming back and forth to the nest with them all summer long, feeding those imprints, those babies. And the female's just sitting there guarding the nest. You got to get what you need. You got to get the tool for the job. And obviously, as falconers, we want to fly the smallest bird for the biggest harvest, because it's cooler and it's more sporting. That's just like
Speak for yourself, buddy.
Well, I'm just saying, in the long wing community, like long wingers, and like you want to fly the more flashy, beautiful. You want the bird that flies nice. Like, you don't want a big giant like me. Like, I've been flying these big white birds, and they're fun to fly, and they're super ridiculously calm. It's not any more skittish than a red tail. Not even close. I mean, any of these crosses, these big fins, the big fin albitus crosses. I mean, you cannot go wrong with getting one of those. They're literally like, I'm not even going to say that they're as high strung as a red tail. They're like calmer than a red tail. You just got to sacrifice hunts in the beginning. You got to go out with buddies. You got to go out with people with dogs. You got to keep them around a bunch of stuff, and you got to enter them with a bunch of chaos. And then they'll fly around anybody. They don't care, but the tearsels, they have a problem with it sometimes. You got to really push through it. You got to really just bite down, as a fighter would say. You got to bite down on your mouthpiece, and you got to just push through it until they click. And when they click, they're amazing. But some of them don't click if you don't know what you're doing. And that's the point. And I didn't know what I was doing. I got a tearsel fin. I didn't really know what I was doing. And I'm going out to woodlots. I'm catching 10% rabbits and 90% squirrels. And I got a tearsel goshawk. I had no business getting one. So then I just switched over to ducks, and I was learning ducks as I was learning to enter this bird on ducks. And it was 80 to almost 100 slips on ducks before he actually grabbed the first one. And he grabbed a couple. He did good. He got beat up a couple times, and then he started being very selective about his slips. And I don't have chucker. I don't have quail. I don't have pheasant. So I was basically stuck with a bird that was not entered on rabbits properly. And he just liked, female mallards and, wood ducks. And it's like, what am I going to do with that? I got squirrels running all over the place. I had no business getting that bird. I should never have gotten it.
You definitely got to hawk what you got.
Yeah.
On that subject,
go ahead.
Don't buy Harris Hawks from people that are just throwing together free hand-me-down Harris Hawks.
Yeah, unless they're super cheap and you want a Harris Hawk.
I recommend getting them from reputable breeders who have good birds.
Yeah, 100%.
That's super common, man, because you can find free Harris Hawks if you want them. And there's a lot of people out there who are gobbling up free Harris Hawks and sticking them in chambers and collecting the babies and selling them for $600. So don't fall for that trap.
Same thing with goshawks. I mean, there's very few people that are taking it as seriously as a couple guys out there that are taking it. And, they're getting random retired hunters or a bird that the person just can't live with anymore. And I'll take it off your hands. And then they're just throwing it in a chamber. When it starts presenting in the spring, they start inseminating it. You know what I mean? And like, you don't know what you're getting. There's a couple guys out there that are really serious about what they're breeding. But I will say this, though. I will say that a goshawk is a goshawk, and you're not going to really get a goshawk that's like a dud. Obviously, a certain percentage of every clutch, obviously we know in the wild that they're not making it. So some of them are going to be better than others, but
I think to some degree, though, some people are probably taking failure birds that they got for free or cheap and breeding them. And that's probably not what people need to be doing.
That's what I'm saying. And that interview with the Coulsons, if you guys didn't listen to that episode, that was a great episode, because they got like charts and stuff of like this bird and that bird, and they'll go to, he was telling us, right, Aaron, he was saying he'd go on a meet or something, and he would just happen to see somebody fly a Harris Hawk, and the thing was just a monster. And he would just say, like, I'll literally trade you, 2 free birds from this year or from next year or 2 years in a row if you give me that bird for breeding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he was like not playing around. Like, if this bird is good, I want it for breeding. Like, same thing with dogs, man. Teddy does the same thing. She goes out with people. She's running with people. She sees a dog that's just lighting the field on fire, flushing game, listens, goes down holes, does this, does that. And she's like, I want to breed to that dog. You know what I mean? And it's just the same thing. And people with birds, it's just like, oh, I got a goshawk. I don't really want it. You know, and they're like, all right, well, what is it? Oh, it's a fin. All right, I could use a new fin. I'll put it in my project. And it's like, what the, like, you don't even know what it is. You know, I mean, you can't really go wrong with a goshawk, in my opinion, but I'm super biased.
Yeah, we all know that.
No, but I'm just saying, you know, like they all want to kill stuff. It's not like they don't want to kill stuff. It's just some
even Harris hawks to some degree, but I still think if you're going to pay good money for a bird, get a bird that's bred well.
Yeah, and to spend $3,000 on a goshawk and you don't even have the game for it, it's just a shame. Like, just it's a shame.
Do not take that decision lightly.
No, don't.
Make sure you know what you're getting, because they're not all created equal.
And like I said, I'm not going to say the breeder's name, but I even called them back. I only, you know, I was just like, just freshly starting out my business. No, I didn't even start my business. Did I start my business? I was just almost getting ready to start my business. So I was still working for somebody. I didn't have the most money. And I had enough for by the way, this is back when female North Americans were $1,800 shipped, by the way. Call a breeder now, ask, I want a North American female. It's $2,800, you know? And I called them back. I did a couple side jobs and I was like, I can buy a female. I called them back and I said, you know, I got a lot of squirrels. Like, you know, I can pay for a female. Do you think I should get a female? And he's like, no, you'll be fine. You'll catch a bunch of squirrels with this bird. Bird was literally like, the squirrels weighed more than the bird.
Yeah, he got you.
Yeah, he's a nice guy and he makes decent birds. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to slander him, you know what I mean? Because he's a nice guy and I've bought birds from him and stuff. And I know other buddies of mine that fly his birds. But yeah, he had no business selling me that bird. He should have said, listen, man, if you got a bunch of squirrels, I'm going to see if I can get you a female, because I think you'll do better with a female. That would be the moral thing to do. As my first goshawk, you know, my first real goshawk that I'm going to raise and enter. So,
yeah, you would think he'd be worried about repeat customer, but you know, maybe he just didn't know because he's in California and doesn't know shit about squirrels.
Yeah, and I should have known because he was just talking about chuckers and stuff and flying out in the desert, and you know, his birds fly close to 800. And I'm like, yeah, Tiercel will fly close to 800 if it's out in the desert with no stimulus, nothing, and you have game birds getting up in front of it. Of course, you want that bird as fit and heavy and explosive as possible. If you're flying, you know, in tight cover with repeat slips and you got people walking around, you got cars driving by, you got a bunch of stuff that's going to wig the bird out. If you fly it heavy like that, it's just going to bounce on you. It's just going to give you a hard time. So you got to kind of read between the lines with what these breeders are saying. But I think we kind of beat that dead horse, right, Aaron? What do you think?
I think people should have the point at this point in time. So was there
I think
anything
they had
else
the point like 15 minutes ago.
Was there anything else you wanted to discuss? I mean, we could do this for hours, but I think we can call this good, as they say.
Let's go ahead and share that one more good story there, and we'll call this good, Aaron.
Yeah. You ready to call this good?
No, I think it was good, man. And listen, this is a different one for you guys, and it is what it is.
What about the gals out there?
The gals, the they, thems, you know, we're very inclusive over here. So, you know, whatever floats your boat, we support you.
We love you. We cherish you.
No, like in all seriousness, though, and Aaron's making a little joke, but we are serious though. Like, we're very grateful for the followers and the like, we see it. Like, every time somebody listens to an episode, we literally see it, and we're closing in on 100,000 downloads, and we haven't even been doing this for 2 years yet. You guys are enjoying what we're doing. We're doing a different kind of a thing. Some people don't like it. And it's not that we want to be arrogant and say, well, too bad, can't please everybody. We do want everybody to enjoy it. But we just want to keep it real, man. We got nobody in our back pocket. Nobody, you know, we're not bought out by any of these organizations or these companies. I mean, we have sponsors and we support them. But we're going to tell you how it is. And we don't know everything. I don't know everything. But we want to just give you guys good information. Like I said, like the Albatus thing, I'm just pumped for that, because it's like, who's doing it? Nobody has any motivation to do anything. Like, how did Albitus goshawks get into this country? Who started breeding them? How'd they get them here? He flew over there. He's up on the ridge in Kamchatka, trapping these passage white Siberian goshawks in the middle of nowhere. And then they're putting microchips in their back after they got screwed the first time. Like, this whole story is insane. And like, I know I'm hyping it up and we didn't even narrow down when we're going to go and have this conversation. But I'm just saying stuff like that is what we're trying to do with the podcast. We're trying to like shed light on issues in the falconry community. We're trying to give you guys really good information and just push the sport forward and just help everybody. I mean, like, you know what I mean? In any way that we can. You know, that's why Aaron started out the show.
Except for our enemies.
Listen, man, I was at church this morning and he was talking, we gotta forgive our enemies, man. I heard that this morning. It kind of hit home with me, man. Like, we're better than that, Aaron. We don't need the views and the downloads literally speak for themselves.
I'm going to keep the list for later when you inevitably change your mind and we need to go after them. Okay.
Anybody who has seen my presence on social media where somebody wrongs me knows that I am a fallen, sinful man. And yeah, I mean, listening to that guy who runs the Archives of Falconry kind of bash us, man. I was ready to go off on that guy, man.
Yeah, he's lucky it was in Heath's comments and not ours, because we would have rolled him up and smoked him.
Oh yeah, if he rolled his walker into our comment section and started with that nonsense, I would have eaten him alive. But I'm like, I can't. Like, we're trying to be professional, and this is not a bad person. He's just from another generation.
To be wrong, you know.
No, he's completely wrong. I mean, if asking a question is taken as disrespect, then you are just a sheep that doesn't want to know what's going on. You don't care what's going on, and you're going to do what you're told. And we want to push falconry forward. We want to get limitations on falconers removed. We want to start the way it was supposed to be, which is have it regulated and then slowly remove the regulations so that we can self-police. You know, they're not going out every year and inspecting trappers' traps and their setup and their fur sheds to see what they're doing. Like, the fact that they still want to come to our homes and inspect us and look at our setup and this and that, it should be self-policed. If somebody has a really bad reputation, then they should be dealt with. And we should deal with it internally and report them for it. As much as I don't like reporting people. But in a situation like that, they should be reported. The regulations on falconers needs to go down. And we are by far, and we said this on a million episodes, but I'm just pumped about it. We are the largest falconry podcast there is. And we're just trying to just push falconry forward, and shed light on the issues, and, you know, and try to build a bridge between us and the other hunters that are out there too. So if you hear something, if you see a clip or you see something and it's a hunter you don't really know, give it a listen, because it might open your eyes up to something different. You know what I mean? We're all out there trying to catch game, man.
That's it, baby. Well said.
That's it.
All right, guys. See you next week.